We were playing a little bit with gradients the other day, so I thought it might be fun to kind of get in and explore those options a little bit more. So we have here a nice night sky, and we have Jupiter right here, except it doesn't really look like Jupiter. So I'm going to select it, and then I'm going to go into my gradients, and I'm going to add a gradient. And of course, the default setting is black and white. So I'm going to click on this stop right here, and I'm going to make that in reddish over here, make this end. Make this in light blue. And you can always add more stops. These dots are called stops. Actually, let me move this all the way down there just by double clicking. So now we get another stop. I'll make some gaseous green, make another stop here. And make some that, click on here, yellow, go right there, maybe a nice purple, another one right there, orange. So it's looking pretty psychedelic, and you can slide these things around. This kind of shows the transition between any two areas. You can move the stops themselves. When you move the stops, the two little in-between areas move. So that is pretty cool. And the whole area is selected here, so you can just go on a corner, and when the little rotate turn pop tool pops up, you can rotate it that way. And let's make it so that it's they're kind of horizontal stripes. So now if we go to the gradient tool, we get that slider, except right here. And let's see, one of these sides you rotate. Yeah, this is the rotate side, and it swings around the other end as a radius. So you can do that. Oops, do that. I don't like that. I'm actually not as crazy about this gradient tool. I'd rather select it like this, rotate it like that, and play with it that way. But I want to talk about these other options here too. Like there's the radial gradient, and this is the freeform gradient. And the freeform gradient, it gives you colors that are in your artwork. So it's using the star color and the sky color. But what I'm gonna do is let's go back to the linear gradient. It's interesting. As we went back to it, you notice that it didn't resume the horizontal. So I'm going to select it again, and I'm going to rotate it. To get those spaces the way I like it. And I'm going to change these things around too a little bit. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into layers. I think I want to make that top a little more pink. And I'm going to go into my layers panel, and every object has its own, like this is all one layer, and these are sub layers or mini layers, but they're all the objects that are within this layer. And I'm going to go down here. This is the ellipse. This is the Jupiter itself right here. And I'm going to copy this Jupiter. So to copy this little layer, I'm going to drag it down into this layer symbol, and it duplicates this layer. So you don't notice any change because it's just a duplicate of what was there before. So now I'm going to shut off the original one. If I shut off both, it would be like that. But now, and I'm going to re-edit this one right here. So this is selected. Yeah, and you can tell it's selected because it's it's got the blue highlight on it. And then I'm going to go back to my gradients, and I'm going to go to this one, the freeform. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry, I didn't select it. I thought it was selected, but it isn't. Now I'm going to go to the freeform. And see, remember, the colors are so limited just because it uses what's in your palette. So I'm just going to click on this one. I'll make this orange. Double click on this stop. Make it, this kind of light greenish blue. Click on this stop. And I'll make it red. Oh, I like that yellow. Okay. Well, how about this one? I want two yellows. This is like gold. That's yellow. So I'll click on the gold. I'll make it purple. And let's go with, okay, so now what's cool is you can move these stops around. And again, if I wanted another stop, I can just click there. And let's make that like, what do we not have? Let's make a, cool. And also you have these little rings that appear. So that's kind of how much the color spreads out. So if I make it bigger, the color spreads a little more. If I make it smaller, it kind of confines it. So there are a lot of ways to play with your tie-dye. But what I want to do, let me get rid of that. Just drag them off to get rid of them. Get rid of, no, I'm gonna get rid of you. And I'm gonna make you gone too. I'm gonna make you white. White, that's boring. Well, wait a minute, we'll see. Make that one white too. I'm gonna go to this one and I'm gonna make it blue. And what over here, we were drawing points, but you can also draw in lines. You can have the stops go in lines. So I'm going to go out there to get rid of it. So they're all aligned. Go back to points now to move the points around. I'll make it. So getting some shade. Get that area even smaller. So I want it to be like half shadow. But I might make a make it right here. I'm gonna make a new one. I'm gonna make that white. One here. Yeah, white's good for that. Make that bigger. Go right up here. So it's kind of like I'm shading the ball there with that, and that's pretty cool. Now another thing we can do, so remember this, I'll go back to my layers again, and the original Jupiter is right here, it's turned off. I'll turn it on, but you can't see it unless I turn that off. But if I go up to this layer and then I go into, well, let's make sure I'm selecting it. That's selected, yep. So now I'm going to go to the transparency. Remember these little transparency? So if I made this transparent, it still kind of makes the level below it kind of chalky, like the white makes a chalkiness to it. But I'm going to, the layer is set to normal. If I set it to multiply, it adds the shade, but the white doesn't block out the light. And if I, a little bit darker, so you can play with these effects to see what one does on top of the other. I'll go with saturation. What would that do? Oh, I don't like that. Make it transparent a little bit. Okay, I thought you would have fun. So that is called Fun with Gradients.